Hello everyone, my name is Sandra Salzman and today I'll be presenting my behavioral health theory project titled Fuel Yourself for Flight. This project focuses on improving nutrition among U.S. military aviators using an integrated approach that combines social cognitive theory, theory of planned behavior, and the ecological model. I'll walk you through the public health problem, behavioral and structural determinants, and the theoretical approaches I selected, as well as the evidence basis for those selections, and the intervention that I think will improve the nutrition habits among military aviators, as long as we follow ethical guidelines. In military aviation, poor nutrition and hydration are common. Often termed as strategic dehydration, aviators will often skip meals and rely on energy drinks or eat vending machine snacks in the course of a flight in order to get through to the next ground period of rest. These practices contribute to fatigue, attention lapses, and increased risk of pilot error as the mission goes on. The prevailing mission-first culture can discourage self-care behaviors. Given the high stakes of aviation operations, this is a public health problem worth addressing in this population. Behavioral risk factors include limited knowledge of performance-based nutrition, constrained time for eating, frequent changes to schedules. Social determinants include squadron norms of endurance and not interrupting missions for meals. Structurally, many bases and deployment sites offer only unhealthy food options and only during certain hours. Mission schedules rarely allow breaks or planned eating time. All of these layers reinforce the poor nutrition behavior and culture. This problem matters because dietary macro and micronutrient balance influences reaction time, memory, and endurance in pilots, according to Linseth in 2011. Dehydration, even at 1 to 3% of body weight loss over the course of the first 120 minutes of flight, impairs pilot spatial cognition and working memory. Addressing nutrition is a relatively low-cost readiness strategy with a potential for high return and safety and performance. Compared to other readiness initiatives, improving nutrition and hydration in flight is low cost or cost effective and can yield immediate benefits for both the crew members and the organization and the organizations that we serve. Because most aviator behaviors are not solo decisions, but embedded in layered context and mandate, an ecological model is fundamental. According to the ecological perspective from Bronfenbrenner in '79 and DiClemente in 2018, individual actions are influenced by interpersonal, organizational, community, and policy contexts. Cohen's structural model adds that availability, physical design, social structure, and media influence can help or hinder healthy choices. Recognizing that systems co-evolve, we must plan interventions across all levels rather than just targeting an individual behavior or intent alone. Cohen's structural model of behavior show that environment can enable or constrain healthy choices. For our aviators, that means improving access to nutritious food, making hydration easier, incorporating it into the mission planning and flight planning, and ensure that leadership communication models emphasize the importance of self-care. This project, Fuel Yourself for Flight, integrates three major behavioral models that we picked and chose from in order to develop a whole airman and a whole unit intervention. The theory of planned behavior helps us understand how attitudes and perceived control can shape a personal intention. The social cognitive theory explains how confidence, self-monitoring, and leadership modeling are important to promote change. And the ecological model ensures that those individual and social efforts are supported throughout the environment and across all systems within the area that the air crew is operating. Here's a table presenting some of the key pieces of research that I looked at in developing Fuel Yourself for Flight. Linseth et al. Examined how diet composition affects pilot cognition and flight performance. So this is the medical basis upon which the intervention is built. Their findings showed that pilots on balanced higher carbohydrate diets and in moderate fat diets performed 15% better in flight simulators compared to those on high protein diets. The study validated the central premise of the intervention that nutrition directly influences operational performance and cognitive endurance, and it's important to spell out to the aviators why this nutrition intervention is helpful and how, because they don't do anything without data. Wang et al. Applied the theory of planned behavior to a study of diet and physical activity in apps. They used the users who tracked their behavior through the mobile tools developed stronger awareness of and perceived control for their actions, and nearly 2/3 reported a positive behavior change. So the results kind of shaped the app-based self-monitoring and feedback component of my program. Hovell et al. In 2009 contributed evidence from the behavioral ecological model emphasizing social reinforcement and environmental contingencies that impact the individual's behavior. Their work demonstrated that team-based reinforcement and recognition, so reminding them, could increase target behaviors up to 40%. This evidence supports my inclusion of the peer and crew incorporation in these behavioral changes that we recommend. Leadership and recognition as part of squadron level social reinforcement. Finally, Kitunen, I think is how you pronounce it, et al. Explored how environmental supports and motivation influence the healthy eating among military trainees. So they found that when trainees had consistent environmental reinforcement, they consumed 1.5 times more fruits and vegetables than those without supports. So this confirms that the ecological and structural changes, like providing accessible healthy options, are essential to sustain behavior change in the military context. So all these studies kind of work together to build the framework for this project, depending on an integrated approach that builds self-efficacy, reinforces the behavior socially, and makes an environmental shift to accommodate the change. So the intervention I developed, Fuel Yourself for Flight, is designed as a multi-level behavioral intervention. The purpose is to help aviators make healthy nutrition and hydration a routine part of aviation operations. So our strategies include the weekly education, an education boost essentially at the weekly already scheduled all calls, so it's not interrupting operations, ensuring that senior aircrew are modeling the behavior that we want, so reinforcing that from above, and then further squadron leaders emphasize that use of healthy in-flight snacks and hydration during mission planning to accommodate the time that's required in flight to make that happen and to plan for it on the ground. So another component is environmental restructuring, so building a fuel bar, so rebranding the snack bar, stocking it with healthy foods, and putting it at the step desk so it's the last thing flyers see when they walk out the door, and potentially giving them that cue to grab a snack that's healthy because it's what's available, and then using it in flight according to their mission plan, and potentially supporting those snack options with squadron morale funds to help reinforce that is an important option and make it accessible for crew, especially the lower enlisted flyers who make a little bit less. In addition, social reinforcement through digital self-monitoring, so they can scan to purchase the items from the fuel bar, or if they bring their own snack, they can just log it in the air. And this is a unit-wide intervention that crews can log on their own to show that they're taking care of their crew. So it's good crew resource management by the air crew leaders, showing that they are both taking care of their mission and their people. And a look at policy pathways. So again, structural support for having assigned people do the snack bar restock weekly, and then potentially using those squadron funds, the morale funds, to help support the healthy choice purchases to keep the costs low. So this uses leadership modeling to shift social norms, a mobile app for self-monitoring, and kind of a crew competition to build team incentives to reinforce the positive behavior, and then having reminders and weekly education to ensure everyone is tracking. So the evaluation plan focuses both on behavioral and operational outcomes. Self-assessment surveys, which are already in place, which is the operational risk management assessment that everyone does at the STEP desk prior to going to the aircraft, and then the STAN-EVAL, or Standards and Evaluation Performance Evaluation Metrics for mission success. That means being able to accomplish everything on the first time through without having to repeat. Usually that happens more often towards the end of a flight because of fatigue, which is self-reported, and then using mission success as a measure of cognitive performance. Process measures such as like the app usage to see how people are logging in and if they're using the fuel bar, and then competition among the different crews to see who's taking care of their crews the best nutritionally, can monitor fidelity and items that are used in the snack bar, and this can be used in a paired analysis to show whether the behavioral, cognitive, and performance outcomes improved and if they varied among crews that didn't use this intervention and those who did. So this continuous feedback can be gained from those at the operations desk sitting by the snack bar or the fuel bar, and crew feedback in the weekly squadron education meetings to help refine the intervention and make it easier or better or more able to be integrated into the mission battle rhythm. So ethics and cultural fit, it's a big part of everything we do in aircrew. Ethics are critical because of the hierarchical nature of military and duty-oriented setting of all of the aviators here. Participation has to be voluntary, so the aviators who are comfortable with their best practices and feel like they can't fly well if they change what they're doing because they've been doing so well for so long, they can continue to succeed. We can use them as a baseline, but they'll still hear the education and the leadership push for self-care emphasis every week to hopefully improve their medical and nutritional literacy. Privacy can be maintained for the app, just having by maintaining it without a sign-in. It'll just be like a crew sign-in, so people won't know who is who, but the crews will be grouped that way and the data anonymized. And then equity is addressed by providing the equal resource uniformly across rank for the entire squadron. This program is framed around mission performance rather than health promotion because aviators don't care about themselves as much as they care about the mission, and so we just have to capitalize on that knowledge and use the mission success as the carrot, so to speak. And the feedback mechanisms allow the units to constantly adjust the program without undermining the core goals so that they can be in charge of their own success. So anticipated benefits and costs. We expect benefits such as enhanced alertness with better nutrition and hydration, fewer fatigue-related errors and reattacks is called when you miss an approach and have to go back and do it again, and better mission readiness overall, potentially decreased illness rates. Challenges will include the burden of logging meals and fitting that into the battle rhythm, the ability to help crews find those longer legs of the flight that they can get a quick snack in, and helping them with using the app during flight or after the flight to get good data, and then resource constraints in remote or austere environments. So a lot of times we don't come back the same day, we'll come back in several days, or we don't anticipate we're going to be gone, so we don't have enough things with us. So going to those places downrange which we don't anticipate will be a challenge. Mitigation will include minimizing the required inputs, automating our app logging when possible, subsidizing the cost of the snack bar or the fuel bar with morale funds, and then encouraging people to take backup snacks that have a longer shelf-stable life. Hopefully this will mitigate some of those anticipated burdens, but there will be things that come up that we didn't anticipate, and we'll just have to flex when they come. In conclusion, Fuel Yourself for Flight is designed as an intervention that blends elements from social cognitive theory, theory of planned behavior, and the ecological design to make a healthy nutrition mission-focused or mission-supporting behavior change rather than a personal side task. Because it aligns with aviator identity and culture and addresses structural barriers, it has strong potential for sustainability and success. This model could be adopted to other operational populations facing similar constraints, although my aviators at Ramstein are a special breed that are very busy all the time. So I imagine if it could survive there, it could survive anywhere. All these photos are stolen or imported from my collection at my time while stationed there. So hope that you've enjoyed the slideshow. I look forward to your questions. And here are the references that I used for this presentation.